What's up, everybody? It's your girl, the Grand Sparrow, the Stadium Queen, and you are back for week 4 of Snob Chronicles. I got my boy D Jones with me tonight, and we
What's
do
going
have a special guest. What's up, D Jones? How you feeling?
Chilling, man. It's been a week. But it's good.
You got that right hat on. Those Astros, they the division champs again. Um,
On the West.
I know we're gonna talk some football tonight, but we gotta give a shout out to the Stros because everybody but their fans wrote them off. Now we know some fans was iffy, but they didn't write them off. But
Raise
everybody
your
else
hand.
wrote them off.
Raise your hand. Some fans, that's you. I'm messing
Oh,
with you.
oh,
Not
because
not after May, but you was in
no,
it.
no, I was pissed, but I didn't write them off.
No, you ain't right them off, but you get a
Yeah,
little
and
chase
that's my
sometimes.
point.
I gotta get you right. I gotta get you right every now and then.
I was agitated, but I think I was in a fair place. I think I was in a
At the
fair place
time, at the time,
at the
what I
time.
say, it's a long season. It's a
It's a
long
long
season.
season, as we
Long
soon
season.
find out. Everything can't be 100 win season. But what's up? Um, I'm looking forward to later when we get into three piece and the pepper. But let's start off like we've been starting off recently, and I'm gonna get into the teams of the week. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
even
let's
waste
do it.
no time.
Let's do
And
it. Let's do it.
so my first team of the week is weird. It's both teams. It's definitely the Bengals and the Commanders. I mean, nobody punted. The punters rested the whole game. I mean, talk about a free check.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
You can get a double on this one. I guess you give them the praise, but the defense is probably go to the next segment. But we'll just give the offense the
well,
praise.
I mean, it probably brought back the concept of people thinking about, we see this on Saturdays a lot in college games, right? High scoring games. Where's the defense? But I think in the moment, as somebody who watched the game, I wasn't so much thinking that there wasn't any defense being played. It's just for a minute, sometimes it was just good plays. And so it just seemed to kind of get in rhythm and it resulted in scores. But I know defense is important, so we have to still say something was up with it. But then I also want to give a team of the week to Jaden Daniels. I mean, he had an amazing game for a rookie, 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I mean, he
That's
was in
that's his
complete.
that's his season stats though. That's his
That's the
season stats.
season, but I'm saying
Yeah,
as a rookie through week 3, I
crazy,
mean, let's
crazy.
praise him because we've been benefited from the praise of a rookie, and we hadn't even found a win yet in those first 2 games of the season. So it's good to see him in the win column a couple of times at this point with some great stats. I mean, it's through week 3, but he's averaging 80%, and I love it. I freaking love it. Um, and then I guess, you know, whew, who is this? Who is week three's
Watts,
Watts? 3 Watts.
Watts.
I'm thinking it might be a Steelers fan. I want to know if it's a Steelers fan. Maybe I should say that. Because
Oh
when
no,
I think,
it came up. They came up big time this week.
well, what you mean they got the most, they were able to pick the most correctly?
They picked 10 correct, and then they also
Okay.
took over first place from Motor City last week.
Oh,
He took
Motor
a little dip.
City. Motor
He took a
City's on the
dip.
roll.
He was, but he took a dip. So he went from first to, I believe, third. So
Oh,
now
that's
Watts
okay.
is in the lead with a 69% uh, win rate at 33-15. He picked 10 winners this week on a rough week. I think it was some prizes this week. He picked 10 winners. So that
Can you
means
say that again?
he took some chances in the words of our old partner there.
No, but can you say that again on a rough week?
On a
Because
rough week.
it
Yeah.
was it was a rough week. And in
You
speaking
actually,
of,
you actually had two. You had two teams pick 10 wins. So you had Watts and you also had CB's team, but Watts had the tiebreaker.
okay, I hate those tiebreakers because I guess you have to put it in so early, right? Like, I don't know how sometimes I'm feeling about the score of Monday Night Football. I can understand you have to say who you think would score the most or score the
Mhm.
least, but I think I'm still unclear on Thursday about who I think would score the most on Monday Night Football. Just my take, but whatever. It is what it is. So as we move into who's in last place? You know,
Uh,
check out who's in last place for me when we get to the next segment because I'm thinking of I want the loser to do something creative. I want them to participate. So if you playing in our pick'ems, I need you to be down for you know a loser's showcase of some sort. You know, we got a good history of a loser that we usually keep around. And I'm thinking I'm gonna volunteer him. I thought I saw him looking pretty good in week one, but man, it would be nice. I think I took a poll asking people about what would you want the loser to do in your fantasy. And this is the odd one, but this is the one I think I like the best, which is you go to open mic night and you have to put on a performance.
like
I would
any type of
love
performance, or just like
no comedy
comedic
open mic night,
comedy. Oh
comedy open
man.
night,
Oh
comedy
no.
open mic night.
Oh
I'm I'm
no.
I'm digging it. And you know what? I'm almost thinking like you should have like a party. Like, okay, I think that would also be a great idea to use for picking order for your fantasy league. You have open mic night and you let other people decide who gave the
No.
best show. You don't like that?
No. No.
Why
No.
not?
Because
Come on.
I mean, comedy is rough. I mean,
Exactly.
you better doing like karaoke and whoever get the most
No,
applause
no, because
because
everybody can't lip
comedy is
sync.
rough.
That's the
Comedy,
point. I think it's the fairest ground, though. Some people have musical talent. Some people can hold a note. Some people
some
know
people naturally
songs,
funny, but
but
still,
we won't know until they do it. Ooh,
even if you
ooh.
naturally funny doing a comedy set, that's not. T,
Yeah, it can be short.
could you do
It
a
can be
comedy
short.
set? Could you
Yes,
do a comedy set?
yes, yes,
You would
yes,
do that. No,
yes.
you would.
You know, if I can zip line upside down out the country, I can do a comedy. I mean, it's just comedy. I mean, I don't
It's just comedy.
meaning if I do bad at it, so what? That's my point. Like,
But I think 90% of your fantasy leagues are just going to do bad at it. So how can you? I don't know, man. That's tough. I don't know. I put me last. I sign up. I sign up to go last because I'm not doing
okay,
it. I
we'll
can't
see.
do it.
All
Motor,
right.
Money Mo is pulling up the rear right now. At 46% picking wins, 22 and 26.
Mm, mm,
I'm not far from him, so I can't say much. I'm
mm.
I'm I'm 50. I'm batting 50. I'm 50%, 24 and 24.
I moved up halfway because I think week one, I probably didn't really look like it was some changes to some teams that I didn't really evaluate. And so my
You
point
still in the
totals
top
weren't
10.
there.
You still top 10. You seventh out of 35.
Yeah, but that's now.
Yeah.
That's now.
I'm
That's
saying, yeah,
now.
that's what we are.
That's
That's
now.
where we are. That's
Yeah.
where we are.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying the week before, I was like 15, 16. So I'm saying I kind of cut it down halfway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with
Yeah,
you.
shout out to Corey Williams. He checked out Monday Night Football. Jaden Daniels is looking nice. I know I know that feeling of just going to games, hoping you just really want your team to play well, usually when you're at a night game, right? It's like it's so much, it's the focus is solely on your team. You kind of want your team to do the best. So
Everybody watch.
everybody's watching. There's no other option. If you're watching football, that's what you're watching.
That's a
So
good segue into the next segment that we should get into the teams for the week that make you look queasy. Who
you
you
know
got?
what?
Who you got? What you got this week? What we talking about?
I want to talk about these refs. And look, man, we got to figure out what's up with illegal formation. Now, I know personally our team heard the whistle a few times for this call, but every week it's looking different. It's looking different on each team, how you calling it in the same game. And I just feel like the fans need a memo to know where are we going with this penalty? Like, what is the overall focus? I mean, like, we knew when they were trying to cut down on player injury, right? We've been seeing the targeting call more to kind of keep good control of the game. And when they didn't want to allow the celebrations, they put more control on the flags with the end zone. But I just feel like illegal formation has gotten too much attention in the last couple of weeks. And I think the last time I remember a flag just flying too much was, remember when they kind of readjusted PI. And it was like every game, it was like we just couldn't get away from every time a receiver tried to catch the ball, we saw a flag. And we still sometimes feel like that in big moments, or the lack of a flag, right? So
Yeah.
that leads me to my other part, which would be the lack of timing with calls. And of course, everyone who's a fan of a team feels like their team is not getting any more or less calls than everybody else. But you can't be the only game on that we're watching and everybody is seeing the lack of calls. Like, at some point, there has to be an ownership that either you're giving, quote unquote, the Brady treatment to the entire Chiefs, or you've just decided that nothing's PI unless you slapped in the face and you on the wrong team. I don't know, because now I don't know, you know, what is PI at this point. And so, whoo, I don't know. I don't
Do
know.
you agree with Corey? Corey say he feels like they've cut back on PI calls. I don't know if I've seen a cutback, but
No, I get what he's
it's more
saying.
the timing. Yeah.
It's the timing. I think during the course of the game, this is how I see it. Somewhere between first and third quarter, it's pretty much they're letting them play. If it looks like it's just they're playing, it won't be any obvious PI flags. But it seems like for some reason it's getting tightened up in these fourth quarters. If the score is close, it seems like in all the games where the score is close, they holding back on these PIs with their timing. And so I don't know if that's their theory of let them play, they got to win it, or you just ain't the team we giving it to. Because we all know that that's how I used to go for quarterbacks, right? You just wasn't going to get a rough in the passer call. If you wasn't the right quarterback, you were just going to take that sack and have to get back up.
Yeah, you bring up rough in the past. I've seen a couple of quarterbacks get hit in the head and they not call it. And I was like, they normally would call that. And I see quarterbacks getting up like he hit me in my head, and it's like, I just wonder what's the focus. I understand the illegal formation part. That's been a rule. It's just they starting to call it more. I'm looking at several games. You know how I look at the games on the split screen, and I'm watching some formations that look like a V and they not throwing the flag, and then I see some where it looks like the line is up and they are throwing the flag. So I'm just like, as a fan, as you said, it's like it's so confusing. When to expect that for your team, or when to expect it against your team, either way. And so it ends up being, it's just what are we looking for? It makes it real tough. What do you think about what's your take on the hip drop? They got the hip drop tackle that I don't think I've seen it called in one game yet, but we did see a fine last week from the Joe Mixon tackle, which was a clear indication of what they explained to us fans, via NFL Network or whatever media outlet, of what a hip drop tackle is. And then they don't call it in the game, but then find the guy after the game. So if that's something we shouldn't expect during the game and just wait and see if there's going to be a fine after. But,
Well,
it makes it tough.
It makes it tough because they're moving in full speed. And when you're at home, maybe, or you're watching from the booth or TV, it's easier to see the call. I think in real time, some people did not see it even at the game,
Yeah.
right? It just because you're in the motion of the game. And then some people did. I think it's always a good thing. I like the setup, meaning New York can go back and review and try to figure it out. That's been there, right? And see if we need to address something that happened during the game. Because a perfect example of sometimes you just don't catch it, no matter how many people you have on the field, was in the Sunday night game when Zero threw a punch. And if you look, all the refs are trying to do their job, but none of them actually saw the punch. Like if you look, one got his back turned, one got his head down, one turned to the right. And so everybody's like, oh, that should have been a flag. He should have been ejected. But you're watching the players. They're watching their spots, right? And when things get out of normal for them, it's like it's a mad race, right? Because they have a spot on the field, and then when they line up for a play, they have which direction that they intend to go with that certain player or players, right? But if something ends up on the sideline, you might not catch everything because everybody's mad rushing.
Yeah, that's to me, that's a different thing, because that's chaos. You in chaos when that's happening. So you can't expect them to see chaos. But when a play is unfolding and it's their job to watch the ball and the tackle. Now don't get me wrong, based on what the rule, how the rule reads, let's put it that way, it is difficult. It's difficult for anybody to call it when it happens, because there's four things they're looking for. So it's like four different elements of this tackle that they say must apply to be considered a hip drop. So I just think that maybe they didn't. I don't know if I ain't gonna say they didn't. I don't know if they expressed the rule to the players or to the fans well enough to say, okay, this may not be something that's called during the game, but it's something we're going to be looking at, evaluating even after the game, and then assess those fines, because they do that for other stuff. They do that for other things too.
I understand, but I don't think they should set themselves up for that, because then you already are setting the expectation that it's okay if the ref misses it. I just think the New York is a cleanup. And I know you probably
as a fan, I'd rather that. As a fan, I'd rather that.
Okay. Well, I know,
because you set the expectation that a flag is going to be thrown, right? So you set the expectation that the refs are looking for this.
The expectation that a flag is going to be thrown is already there for every game, every week, every time. We just don't get it.
So let us know that it may not happen because it's too much for them to look at. So if I'm not expecting it, then I could be like, oh, they're going to look at that.
You're saying that just because you haven't seen the flag. We don't know that we won't see the flag. And my best example, which you probably not gonna like, which I was going with, was we know the rules of running a stop sign, right? Or running a red light. You know the rule. Correct. If it's not a cop there, you might not get caught. If it's a cop there, he may not stop you if you don't feel like it to write a ticket. But if you got in a wreck and they determine you ran the light, they still may not have determined you caused the wreck. They gonna later go back and do an investigation and make a decision. So we don't set a rule and say the cop gotta always decide at the scene you was in fault. It may be need a further evaluation. I think if they leave it open, they have the choice to do both. If you say it, now you lock yourself in.
Yeah. You talking about grace and mercy, but no, we're not gonna preach today.
Okay.
Hey, another team for the week. Let's talk about a couple of O-lines that we saw this past weekend. So that made us a little weak and a little query. Our boy, number 4 up there in Cleveland was running for his life. So I don't know if you got to see it, but man, that line was crazy.
I didn't get to see that much. And I tried to go back and watch some of that game. And, I had flashbacks of Houston when he was in Houston. And we were trying to fix the O-line then. And it amazes me still that fandom will allow you to believe that miracles can happen behind those lines. And I just feel like it. No, I'm going to go past expectations. I'm going to say miracles. And I think the problem starts with whenever you can make an O-line look mediocre or comparable, you set yourself up for a disadvantage because then it's expected of you even when the line is not there. And that doesn't and I want to be careful with the wording of that because people just like to say, oh, the O-line is horrible, the O-line is trash. It's not even necessarily that. If the defender has faster feet, better technique, that lineman may be good for 2 seconds, but he may not be meant for 4 seconds, right? But you got to give the guy a shot to get the ball out of his hand. And at that point, we just not doing it. And I say we, meaning the Texans and the Browns O-line have suffered tremendously. And I just think people move the line when it's based on who they like. If there was another quarterback behind that line, it would be okay. It wouldn't be okay. I feel the same way about Chicago. If it was a standard pocket passer, and they get to just stand back there and give it all day, they're going to keep finding a way to put them out there and keep saying they're going to make it work. And it's like, here we are just now week 4, and there's supposed to be some miracle magic in Chicago happening behind that line. There's supposed to be some miracle magic happening behind that line in Cleveland. And those are just not real expectations. Not if you really watch football, right? Like, not to get too far from the O-line issues, but everybody knew before the Ravens showed up in Dallas that if you can't stop the run, it's going to be a long day. Mm-hmm. Period. Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's expected. So then when people go and say they didn't stop the run, we knew that. So we know that now. It's not going to get any better in Cleveland unless somebody on the practice squad is getting promoted or somebody coming back. I mean,
so you got it. Well, I mean, as a
or scheme it different. You got to scheme it different.
I'm about to say it's got to go on coaching. It's got to go on coaching and how you the play calling and that. Like, I think in the Texans situation, it's not so much that the line's getting tore up or beat up. It's just the line is in their own way. The penalties that those guys are getting is tremendous. We know about 78 and what's the local flavor for him right now, but and frustrations. But I think it's weird to see those two. So we wanted to highlight them for our teams for the week this week. So let's jump on into the hot stuff. Let's get to the 3-piece and the pepper.
Hoo-wee. So our 3-piece, I say Saints Falcons game, Bills and Ravens game, and the Saints Falcons game is just a good division matchup, which is gonna probably
hold on. Somebody at the door. Somebody at the door. Wait a minute. We got a guest at the door. It's Mr. Entanglement himself. Mr. Entanglement himself.
Mute. Coach B Pat, take him off mute. Oh, snappy snap.
You gotta do it, Coach. There you go.
What up, Coach?
What up, yo?
I haven't talked to y'all.
I haven't talked to y'all in so long.
Are you married?
Like for real? No.
Engaged?
No. Engaged to my money.
You looking
Engaged to my
froggy.
money. Engaged to
Oh,
my money.
engaged to your money. Okay, then. Okay.
Like
Right.
I'm like the you.
He is
I'm like
looking
the
a little
you.
icy, little
I,
frosty on the
I'm
chin. He
I'm like
blowing that
the
thing out.
I'm like the
Okay.
UNLV. I'm like the UNLV players. Give me my money.
Oh, we gonna get there. Let's get this three-piece out the way right quick though. So this
Hold
three-piece,
that thought.
yeah, hold that thought. We're good to see you, but hold that thought. So the Saints Falcons, I'm a ride with the Falcons. I think they're upset from last week. They've looked good the last 2 weeks. I'm just riding with. I don't think much else. I'm riding with the Falcons. I
Yeah,
know there's injuries on the other side, but right now I'm riding with the Falcons. Wait, where's the game?
it's in Atlanta, I believe. Let me double check while you go to that.
Okay. Bills, Ravens. I'm leaning toward the Ravens. I know the Bills looked great the other night, but I'm riding with the Ravens. I'm riding with the Ravens. They should be feeling good. They should just look, they should just smash mouth right all over again and keep it going. Coach, what you thinking?
The Bills look good against Jacksonville. That feel good medicine. Um, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go with Baltimore. Baltimore's running game. Henry looks like he's got a little bounce back to him. And after that beating they put on Dallas, they can't back it up and lose to the Bills. But um, it looks like Buffalo's defense kind of changed up. It's good to see Hamlin actually get a interception in the game. That was the main thing. But I'm gonna go with Baltimore. They're at home.
What about Falcon Saints?
And it's in Atlanta. It is in Atlanta.
Um, Atlanta should have beat the Chiefs. That was a PI. So
Talk to
I'm
us, ref coach.
I'm
Ref
just saying
coach.
that. I mean,
You in entanglement with yourself, ref
no.
coach.
So no. Reason why I'm saying that is because I was listening to the whole thing. I mean, the Chiefs got a interception call in the fourth quarter against the Bengals. It was the same thing, and they didn't call it. I mean, that was worse than the one against the Bengals. But I digress. I'm gonna go ahead again. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go to Atlanta again. It's at home. Um, the Saints. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I can't put my finger on it. I just can't pick them. I don't know. I think it's David Carr, Derek Carr, whatever his name is. So,
Hold on. You got to get that right because one,
okay. All right.
One was
Derek
terrible.
Carr. Derek Carr. No. I'm gonna go
oh,
with busted Achilles, what's his name? Cousins.
Kirk he got busted
I'm
Achilles.
like, what?
Jeez
Okay,
Louise.
look,
Jeez Louise.
what's your picks, D?
Oh no, I'm with y'all on Baltimore. I think Baltimore continue to run. They give Buffalo their first loss of the season. Um, if this game was in Buffalo, I'd probably ride with Buffalo. But I think on the road, I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I think Baltimore have been trying to get their mojo back in the run game, and that happened against. They got their feel good medicine in Dallas, and I think that they'll continue to ride on that. As far as the Saints in Atlanta, I think this is a toss up for me, really. I want to say Atlanta, but I think the Saints are going to get back to what they were doing. I need to see what the injury report is going to look like for them this week, to see if they're getting some of their key pieces back. But I think they right the ship. It's going to be a close game, but if I have to pick tonight, I pick Atlanta by 3.
Field goal.
I knew I was like, B gonna say a field goal game.
Field goal game.
See where you going with that and why. It's just for me, we know, we know Dallas can mess up a good game, right? A game that we just think they're supposed to win, and we're just all looking at the screen like, why is this happening? right?
Yeah.
And so for me, that was their game with the Saints. I was like, why is this happening? I understand the run game part, but I was still like, why is this happening? So they've only beat a team that doesn't have a good run game, right? And
Run
so
defense or run game? Run defense or run game? You saying
run, they only
run
beat a
game
team that didn't have a good run game.
that they
Right,
couldn't run? Okay, I get you. I'll
right.
make sure.
They couldn't run because remember the Browns couldn't run. So all you had to really do was sit back there and focus on pass rush. And I think that's kind of, where the strength was at. But I don't know yet. For something, I'm kind of like Brandon. I'm just stuck. Like I'm not ready to go all in. It's kind of like how people are about Houston. They don't never want to go all in. They always used to try to tell us why the other team lost to us. They never said we won. It
Yeah.
was let me tell
Right.
you what other team messed up, and this is why they got the win.
Yeah.
But before we go tonight, I gotta get it spicy. I want to hit this college conversation because it's really been on my mind all day since it came out, and it's the UNLV situation, and I'm gonna dive into it a little bit more on probably a monologue piece, but just for record, we don't have all the details, and so it's hard to make a informed opinion. So you're taking a, I would say I'm making a slighted opinion based on the player has decided not to play, and my opinion will probably sound, I'm sorry.
Two of them.
Well, let's start with the first one, the quarterback, right? Now, I don't think that to me, I don't believe that a player would be as boisterous to go on the record and say a promise was made to me and it wasn't kept and it be a lie, because it's too easy to ratify that situation and know that the player is not telling the full story. And in the return of that, you would make other coaches uncomfortable in your ability to tell the truth, right? And from what I gather in the additional details that I have, unless somebody has more, is that the assistant coach made the promises, not the head coach. And that it's not just about their winning and now wanting more. It's you weren't keeping what you said you would do, but that goes back to understanding NIL. And at the point in which he went to the school wasn't necessarily the party paying you. So I'm not even really sure what the coach was alleging he could do, because at that point, is it the collective who was going to spend this money or what? Because the head coach is like, I didn't make that promise. So how long have you been at this disagreement? Right. And so that's my next question. Like, were you at this disagreement in week one? And what did they say that made you go out there and play week two? So then there's a lot of nuances there. But I would like your input because you just told me there's a second player, and I haven't had a chance. I've been trying to watch WNBA playoffs at the same time before the show, so I wasn't aware there's another player coming out.
Well, the quarterback came out like you said, and then the starting running back just said he's leaving. But then he posted on his Twitter, formerly known as Twitter X, um,
That
that
No, don't do
he
that because that's not the same kind of X. We're not gonna disrespect Des Bryant X like that. Okay, but go
true,
ahead.
my bad. So he's a cowboy, so whatever. Anyway, so
Be your brother first.
the running back said that it wasn't NIL related, it was playing time related. So
Okay.
yeah, but the quarterback, from what I gathered, got three K out of $100,000 K promise. And like you said it right. The OC was the one that promised them the money, but then the university put out a statement saying that it was a Nevada law that they couldn't do a certain amount, and the player knew this. So I'm with you what you said from the aspect of if I didn't get my money, why did I even practice, play, even be with the team? They came to Houston, played them, then they played somebody else. He played 3 games, and then he waited to his red shirt week, which is the 4th week, to say, "Nah, I'm out."
Well,
So I mean,
yeah, I just
was it payment? Was it payment based, like on a payment agreement, like as far as you get 3K here, 4K? You know what I'm saying? As far
right.
as a payment agreement, or was he supposed to get the whole 100K? Or what I actually initially thought without reading was they agreed to him with that amount. Then he came back saying, "No, the 100K is not good. I want more than that." So I don't
That's
know.
what, and that's why I said it takes more details, but I'm just going to stick on just, formalities. That's all I,
Right.
want to stick with, because like I said, I don't want to condemn the coach, the collective, or the player, because we only keep getting little droppings, but it's a very hot issue, and it could affect any sport, right? And so the thing that people have to keep in mind with NIL is that you're dealing with 3 sets of rules for NIL every single time. You're dealing with the NCAA, you're dealing with the state law, and you're dealing with the school's rule. The NCAA says, look, you can't pay for play, right? But it's up to the school and follow your state laws. And then Nevada says, this is all we're allowing you to do per player in this realm of NIL. And then the school says, we're going to abide by these other 2 hierarchies. And then we're going to let this collective be involved, but this collective has to follow rules. Well, the collective has already said they followed the rules. They never made the promise to the money. They're not involved with that. So evidently the collective gets how it's supposed to operate. And that's something that if you're negotiating or deciding on a school, because everybody's like, well, these kids are just getting out of hand. In reality, most kids know they're not going to the league. Okay. This is now an opportunity to jumpstart their future, because they can be phenomenons in college. We've known phenomenons of college sports who never went to the league. We talk about them all the time. He was a great running back. He was a great quarterback. So now they're being compensated for it. And in that, it's your job to make sure you understand the rules and regulations of where you're going. I practice law. When I decided to be a lawyer in Texas, I had to see what their application process was like and adhere to it. When I decided to get licensed in Georgia and Kentucky, I had to find out their application process and adhere to it. You can't have buyer's remorse on everything you do and then cry foul. And that's either way. That's not about the player or the coach. That's everybody. Everybody. Everybody has to be on the same page about that. And then you have the portal. The reason I like NIL is because the enormous amount of funds that are generated into these universities and colleges for a sport is beyond the number of scholarships that are given out. And the thing that the dark conversation that people do not have in the light is the restrictions that are put on these students under the disguise of a free scholarship. If all of your
Absolutely.
practices and meetings are at the same time, a school's offering 80 majors, but your practices and meetings supersede 72 of them. So now you're at a great institution with great opportunities and free school, and you can only pick
You
8
have 8.
majors. And so you're saturated into something that you may have no interest in. And see, this is before NIL. This is before I start working in sports. This is me seeing friends. They can't become a nurse because it doesn't fit the coach's practice schedule. But they got to adhere to the practice schedule because that's how they're in school. So we keep saying student athlete, but they not.
That
They
was
not.
that was one. I was one of them. I was an architecture major coming out and playing baseball. We had practices for 2 o'clock, and we had 2 o'clock classes. So I had to make a switch.
So in the end, we're telling kids that everything is supposed to be for the benefit of you, but you can't tell me where the benefit is. And so, but if you're a coach and you have a job, you're trying to win. And if you want to move to another job, you move to another job. So that's what I see. If the kid says he wants to move to another school, I'm not here to bash that. I just hope that any decision being made is based on the fact that you did your part and somebody failed you in that relationship, you know. And so if that's the case, so be it. But I just want people to understand that there's no pay for play. So it's not based on his winning. He can't even negotiate that anyway. You can't negotiate that you're starting and you're winning, and that's why you should be paid more. It's your image, your likeness, your visibility. Of course, it goes hand in hand with winning, unless you know you Travis Hunter. When you just bad, it don't matter because you just bad to the bone at what you do, and the money is coming, right? But that's a small bucket. For the most part, you probably got to be at a winning program to get an opportunity at NIL to be visible enough for someone to cut the check. Because people just think everybody's out here cutting checks, and they're not. They're just not. So if that's what happened, you know, that's spicy, and that's trouble for anybody. And I don't want it to become a trickle effect, because basically this is the same red shirt week for every team across the sport, you know. And these are just the two we hear about, but there could be teams that's having a silent conversation about it. A running back might have went to their coach and just said, I'm not playing the rest of the season. We just don't know, right? It's being kept in-house. But obviously a ranked team and the quarterback decides to stop playing for you, something had to have happened that is not fixable. But I hope that it doesn't just turn into, well, he said, you know, to the media, because we've seen that now with Florida, and it's led to a lawsuit. So let's hope for the best on that. And that's all I got, other than I am going to add this show to my new YouTube channel for Fan Snob. So I will upload the show there tomorrow for those that want to check it out. So check it out on Fan Snob. So it'll be easy for you to find it. And Coach Ref, want to thank you for joining us tonight. Good to see you riding up on your money. And now we know you was meant for entanglement. You just didn't know. Because give me my money. As a ref and a coach, I mean, that's a walking contradiction in itself. But hey,
No, I coach in the summer. I ref on the
we know. But the point is,
and you do two different sports, right? You coach basketball. No, because you ref basketball too.
Exactly. Don't sleep on
I forgot about the slide. I forgot about the back pedal and
He's trying to, yeah.
We gotta find that video. That video was amazing.
Hey man, it's always
I
a good day.
It's because he was with it. It wasn't because he failed. It was because he was with it.
And he still made the call.
Still made the call.
Sure did.
Still made the
that
call.
That was slippery too. So hey, it is.
We gonna call it a night. And just want to remind everybody, like I said, check out my new YouTube channel, Fan Snob. And good luck this week with your picks. Get them in. And tell me what y'all think about my idea. Like I said, a comedy show. We're gonna talk about that, because I wait, why is his hand shaking? No. See, you know what? I'm gonna have to give me some backup.
I'm with D Jones.
How long is the set?
3 minutes.
That's gonna feel like 30.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then somebody gonna get tomatoes thrown at them.
Okay, 2 minutes, and this is why I say
2 minutes ain't enough. 2 minutes ain't enough. Usually good with 3.
Okay, 3 minutes. And that's why I said. So I'm gonna tell you why I originally said 3 minutes. When I was in communications in college, we would have to do a 1 minute speech. And the way it worked is you went out in the hallway and you read a quote, and you had to come in and do a speech on that quote. Okay. I was cold at it.
60 seconds.
Ooh, I was cold. I was cold. And I really liked that. So maybe we make it more fun and we kind of borrow like some of the wilding out process of it, where you give it a topic and then you have to give comedy on that topic. Because then you don't have to get cheated about somebody like you said that might be naturally funny.
I don't have to worry about it. I'm not getting last place. So.
Well, I said,
I'm not.
So this gonna be your first year not in last place, is what you're saying.
Hey, I'm intentional about my picks this year.
He ain't taking chances, he said. But how about next week you open the show with a three-minute comedy set?
Oh, 3. Oh, you want me to do 3?
3.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be hilarious.
Okay. I'm with it. Okay. Y'all ready?
Just know D Jones put out the challenge. She gonna accept it.
I'm doing it. I ain't afraid. I'll catch y'all next time because I'm gonna do it. Peace.